and I'm responding to that. So yeah, I don't need the logo. Good.
Can I ask you a question, comedian Q? Who was the first black female?
Who's the first black female rapper?
Astronaut.
Astronaut. Was it, I have no idea. Was it Mae Jameson?
Yes, actually, it was Mae Jameson. Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
was trying to get me caught.
No, you're absolutely. It was Mae. Okay, now we're talking.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
So now I'll meet you halfway. Yes. Okay. This might be risky. Go ahead, sir. What's the next question?
Hey, nah, shout out, man. That's a good combo. Hey, Barnabas, I turned the sound effects down a little bit. Let me know how that shit sound. Hey, man, interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. All right. So let me get into this one. I feel like this one is burning as well. Chaotic.
Wait, hold on here. Before you ask it, hold on. He wanted to move on to the next question after she knew the answer, though. He was quick. All right, what's the next question?
Nah, I mean, you got a good answer back. It'd be like that.
Hey, I'll give her that one.
She probably.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, she answered that shit quick. So chaotic.
Yo,
and maybe Chief, maybe Mr. White, maybe Chef. I know you guys, have been administrators and whatnot, or to work with children, so on and so forth. I'm not to say we don't, but you guys did it professionally. So, what was that about black kids being monkeys?
You're asking me what was that about black kids being monkeys?
Yeah, I mean, because that was one of the things that came up. Something of significance that was said yesterday.
Yeah. So what was that about? If I were telling somebody who's going to get into education, I would, and I did a show on it today, avoid inner city schools with blacks. Black kids are absolutely terrible. And yes, yesterday I called them monkeys, and I used to call them monkeys to their faces. And when their mothers and whoever came up to the school and they asked me, "Did you call my son or a monkey?" I would say, "Absolutely." Well, what else is he acting like? He's acting like a goddamn monkey. He's jumping around, swinging around, doing backflips off the desk, destroying the educational process flow. What else should I call him? Calling them that, for some reason, gets them back in the. Listen, I used to call the kids little nigglets, and for some reason, they'll want to do their work after that. So yes, I've said that before, and I keep on saying it. Avoid the inner city schools if you are a man, unless they're going to give you $250,000 a year to be in those schools. It's hell on earth. I would even argue that a lot of people who work there deserve the Congressional Medal of Honor. They deserve the Purple Goddamn Heart. The amount of education that does not happen because kids are being disruptive. A lot of these kids are physically violent. A lot of these kids don't have any respect for black men or men because black women undermine men in these schools. So it's hell on earth, man. So I would advise anybody, go to somewhere where the kids are civilized. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Japan. Listen, I've been talking about this for years. Don't waste your life with these little inner city nigglets. They will cause you to get cancer, cause you to get stressed. I've seen a lot of people die because they have this deep down urge to help these little stupid kids in these dumb little downtrodden communities. And they die at 55, 60. They get cancer. And how do they get it? It's because you are around these evil little monsters in their evil families. Get the hell away from these people. That's how you progress as a people. Leave them behind. Fuck them. Go ahead. Can we say the F word over here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my first time using. I don't like cursing, but go ahead though.
This might be risky, so yeah, everything is
cool. This might be risky. We are apes, right? Even though a monkey is different from a ape, but we are apes. I mean, I'm on to something with that. But go ahead. We are great apes. We are great apes.
Chief, if you wanted to broach this one.
No, I mean, I've been sitting here for 58 minutes just taking it all in, and I'm trying to, understand perspective and listen to this man's opinions. A lot of it is opinion based, and you are very much so entitled to that, and we, ultimately should try to respect that. Mr. White gave his piece, and your first two words were "you blacks." Motherfucker, you black too. So let's start there, because you immediately you black. Like, no, you are too, unless you don't think that. So let's start there. You reference 50 years ago and ancestors, but when others do it, we can't go back to the past. It's not okay for them. So you're contradicting yourself in that regard. You ask for permission to call the black women bitches, call them bitches, and then acknowledge you wouldn't call them bitches to their face. So you choose strategically offensive words to your convenience, and you have a right to do so. However, the point people are making is that in public, those strategically offensive words wouldn't be used because they are offensive, because they're disrespectful, and people respond differently to disrespect. So that's where the violence comes from. People don't tolerate disrespect. And I think in your particular case, you have a tendency to pick and choose when to use those disrespectful words because you understand the environment you're in. And it isn't the people around. It's the environment you're in. So if you're around white people or black people, nobody's tolerating disrespect in that regard. Again, you speak from very personal experiences, and ultimately to me, it just screams, nigga, who hurt you? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it screams. Like it screams, nigga, who hurt you? Because there's some internal shit going on. Now, I got a podcast called All Black Men Need Therapy. Please come join us and let's have a conversation. But like a lot of your commentary, don't get me wrong, a lot of it has some good stuff in there. I can take some gems, some nuggets, and pull from there. But being in the inner city education, I get your points, and I see all of that. However, my little black girl is number 2 in her class. She's highly educated. She's very well-rounded and respected, and does all those. And if you were her teacher and referred to her as those, then that's a problem. So you're not. It's not okay for you to talk to little kids like that and speak to little kids like that. So again, it's strategically offensive language you use, and it's not okay because also you have to deal with the repercussions of that. And depending upon the person you're around, it can go left. Some people don't have that balance where they can have these articulate conversations, but you have to be mindful of what you say to people because it is offensive and people respond differently to being disrespected. And I think that's the key point right there. And I think that's all I got. So please feel free to, rebuttal in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Well, Chief, your opinion is your opinion, and thank you so much, my good sir. But again, if I'm in public, I don't necessarily even get to the point where I will even have to use coarse language like that because I avoid the people who make me upset. If I feel like I'm going to say something, I just avoid you. And I think that's what a lot of civilized or higher level or high civilized people do. I had to remove myself from a lot of these schools because my mouth did get me in trouble. You're absolutely right. I'll admit that. I had parents up there that, that were pissed off. But I said, you know what? Let me remove myself from here because the parents are uncivilized. The kids are uncivilized. The school it's too much bureaucracy going on here. Let me just get away from these uncivilized, primitive people and let me position myself to be around civilized people. That's why I tell many people, get away from black people and go to Asian people like the Japanese. Go teach English as a second language in Japan. Go to Korea, go to Singapore, go to Qatar, go to where people appreciate civility, appreciate you. Because yes, you are right. Some people can't handle intellectual conversations. But my God, a person like me, man, I just tell the truth, man. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of those kids are monkeys. I don't know what else. I don't know what not to call them. And me knowing that, and me knowing that there's a possibility, a threat by violence from the parent, I just remove myself. I'm not about to sit up there and fight you and wrestle you and nah, forget that. I'm just gonna walk away. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing now, and particularly with black people. Just walk away from these people. And no, sir, I don't identify as being black. I'm an American. You identify me as being black, and that's fine. But I'm an American, sir. I'm the superior person on the planet. I live in the greatest country on the planet. I am the wealthiest people. We are the wealthiest people on the planet. We have better resources. We have better infrastructure than most people. None of you right now are living in any other country, at least to my knowledge. None of you are doing business in other countries. So obviously, America must be the supreme country, and I don't identify as a skin color. I'm an American.
Okay, and we can totally respect that. And again, you can identify how and everywhere you want to. However, 99% of the other people in America identify your black ass as black. Period. So them salt, some salt to the earth that you talking about, they look at you the same way. So when you're in them circles, just understand you can identify how you want to, but you still down with us, my nigga.
Okay, can I give you a rebuttal? Can I give a rebuttal?
Shit like that.
Don't call us niggas if you ain't black.
Can I give him a rebuttal?
Don't refer to us as niggas if you ain't black.
I've never called you a nigga. When did I ever say nigga?
You calling the kids nigglets.
Well, they are. Are you a kid, sir? Are you identifying as a kid today?
No. Let me have a question for you. I got a question.
Let me. Okay, hold on a second. Let me talk to Chief real quick. Let me talk to him. Again, sir. Again, I've been around whites and other groups of people. The only people who constantly talk about race and bring race up are black people. When I'm around whites, and I haven't been around whites in a very long time as a whole, they don't talk about race all the goddamn time. They talk about progressive things. Now, they may be thinking about it in the back of their mind. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader. But when I'm around black people break down things in terms of tribalism. Where you from, who you know, what organization you're a part of, et cetera, et cetera. When I'm around whites, they don't act like that. So all I'm saying is that you could be right and I could be wrong, but my experiences with other people are different. The people who have helped me out a lot in life have been non-black people. Now, I will admit a lot of blacks have helped me out. But when it comes to other groups of people, it just seems like they don't look at race all the time. It's always blacks. But go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Have you ever been impacted by racism in this beautiful country of America?
No, I've never been impacted by racism. I do not believe that racism.
Put this nigga in the bathroom.
There you go.
Now, wait a minute. Now, are you going to ask me a question you want me to answer? Or are we going to?
My man, so you're telling me in your 38, you said 38, right? Your 38 years of life, you've never been impacted by racism at all.
I have never been impacted by racism a day in my life, sir.
Okay.
And
I have a question.
Go ahead, Russell.
If I may. Thank you. You said on the yesterday's show that you identified yourself as a monkey, right?
Hey, this might be risky. Can you turn his mic up, by the way? I don't know. I can't hear him.
Yeah, I'll check it.
I think it's specific.
Yeah, I'll check it real quick. He said, he said you referred to yourself as a monkey yesterday.
Well, the young lady, I believe it was Dana, asked me, was I a monkey, since I referred to the children as monkey? And I said, yes, there are times where I, like most people, this ape energy, this ape behavior will manifest when I'm upset. And I have to remember, I am a human being and we are a higher form of life on the planet. Yes, there was a time when we were hunters and gatherers. We were primitive Stone Age people, but we are in a ever advancing people. So yes, sometimes I do behave like a goddamn monkey.
How early on did you feel that way?
When I was in junior high school, I went to one of the worst junior high schools. I don't want to dox myself, but Blue Cousin, he's in the chat, he knows. I went to one of the worst junior high schools. And what I remember was I was in the classroom. And, back in the 90s, if anybody doesn't know, a lot of these classrooms used to have 30, 40 kids in them. And my classmates were acting like fools. It sounded like a jungle. It sounded like a damn zoo. And I remember being the only kid doing my work. And that's when it hit me. They're animals. That's what it is. Is that they are animals. They cannot control their behavior. That's one of my first times when I ever got mad and said, can you in words shut the F up and let's do the goddamn work? Because at that time we had what was called the proficiency test, the state test. They changed it to the OGT now. And I wanted to pass it 7th grade year so I would not have to take it in high school. And I took it seriously, but the other kids were acting a fool. And that's when it hit me. They're animals. But go ahead, sir.
Real quick, Russ, before you jump real quick. LaShawn with the $5 super chat. I'm not sure if you meant to put the question mark, but it says, I have never been impacted by racism, question mark. I'm not sure if the question mark supposed to be there, you can clarify. Go ahead, Russ. Let me see if I can check your mic too.
So my question is just, you said it's junior high school. You realized you were in a classroom full of animals, but you still described yourself as such. Doesn't feel like you. So when did you realize that you yourself was a monkey? And then to follow that up, did you take that and share it with anybody? Did you take it to your parents? Did they not reassure you that you weren't? Or was it just you came up with this ideal and ran with it?
Well, Russell, and thank you so much for asking this question without any vulgarity. When I was a kid, I used to watch a show called Star Trek, still on to this day. There was a character in the original series called Spock. He's a Vulcan. Spock's people, even though this is fictional, they embrace stoicism. They embrace logic and reasoning. And when I'm a kid, I'm watching this, I said, this is an analogy of the human spectrum. His race of people were violent and vicious beings at one point, and they adopted this philosophy. And when I went back to school, I was watching Star Trek with my dad when I was a kid, but when I got older, I started to understand it. When I got back to school, I said, you know what? Despite this school being a goddamn jungle, I'm gonna behave like Spock. And sure enough, that's when the kids started calling me Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus. They said, you think you better than us because you acting different. But what it was is I was acting orderly. And I got that from Star Trek. The Vulcan race acts orderly because they realized that they were animals. And they said, you know what? We are primates, but we don't have to be this way all the time. And that is the beauty of a lot of schools of thoughts. The Romans, the Greeks, they had schools of thought. Stoicism. I can't think of the other ones, but you go ahead, Russell. Go ahead, Russell.
Well, I mean, I associate being stoic with not showing any emotion, but if you associate it with logic and reasoning, I mean, your definition. But I'm just curious to know, because it still doesn't sound like you refer to yourself as a monkey, but you have put yourself in a place to address the children as such. My follow-up would be, at what age are you addressing these children as monkeys? Because if you're going to call them out their name, are they even at an age to understand this? Is it going to register with them? I know you're saying like they got their work done, but do they even realize the insult?
They do. They realize the insult. You want to read the super chat real quick?
Real quick. Rotunda with the $5 super chat. Self-hatred is a disease. He definitely has been acting like a donkey yesterday and today on this platform.
Well, to answer Rotunda, I would ask Rotunda to call in, speak Yoruba, speak Igbo, speak Hausa, speak Fulani, speak Lingala, speak any African language. I would ask Rotunda, call in and show us your African home and your African bank account. If I have self-hatred, then you also have self-hatred too, because you're in the very same country that I'm living in too. You're speaking the very same language. I bet you went to the very same PWIs that a lot of us Black people go to. So if I have self-hatred, you do too, Rotunda. Now, to answer your question about the insult, sir, yes, the children do realize the insult. See, when I was teaching, when the kids were acting a fool, slap boxing, shooting dice in class, coming to class high off weed, I would just say, the Jewish kids at the such and such schools, they're doing better than you guys. For some reason, that clicked with them because they identified who was better and superior than. I said, oh, those kids, they're doing better. They come to class and they're studious, and you guys are behaving like monkeys. And then 2 minutes later, they're crying, they're doing their work. They're like, I'm going to solve the quadratic formula now, because I put that in their brains to evolve. Be like the Jews, be like the Japanese, be like the Chinese. They take work seriously, and they do identify the difference between being called a monkey and being called a damn human being. Go ahead, sir.
My last one for you, and then I'll open it up to everybody.
1,000 questions, sir. You're fine. Go ahead.
Do these successful Blacks that you reference, the black engineers, the black electricians, the black astronauts, do you think that they are behaving as Jews or as Asians? Or
no, they're human beings. The idea of being a human being is to evolve, is to constantly better yourself. And when you stay in a state of when you stay in a constant state of uncivilized behavior, then you're not a human being. Look at the lesser cultures. Look at the people in Papua New Guinea. They're still running around with goddamn spears. They even look like cavemen. It's because they have refused to evolve. They are not like us. I don't care if they happen to have brown skin or not. They are not like us. Now, would I ever say that they should be exterminated or anything like that? Of course not. I'm not an evil monster, but I don't put them in the same category as us. Of course not. You're still running around living in damn trees. That's what our ancestors were doing 50,000 years ago when we were hunters and gatherers, and you still haven't figured that out. You're like a goddamn monkey to me. So that's all I'm saying. So when I see people acting a fool, I say they're not acting like a human being anymore. They're behaving like animals. And sure enough, when people go to court and they get in prison, doesn't the judge say you're an animal? When they sentence you, hey man, you're an animal. They're telling you what you are because you've behaved in disorder to a civilized society. That's just my opinion and perspective. But go ahead though, Russell. You guys make some more questions.
1 second.
No, I'm good.
Real quick. Ask Abe.
Shit like that.
CT is trying to be discovered and embraced by white folks in hopes that they will put him on.
After that super chat, I bet you Ask Ave, you work for white people. I bet you Ask Ave, you didn't send out that message via a pigeon with a note. You used the white man's cell phone, the iPhone. I bet you used the white man's courier service, Wi-Fi. Again, you want to be discovered by white people just as much as I do. Because you live in the white man's country. You speak his language. You don't live in Africa. Cam up, Ask Ave, and prove to us that you're living in Liberia. Prove to us that you're living in Tanzania. Prove to us that it ain't even got to be Africa. It could be Guyana. Prove to us that you're living in a black nation state and you're driving a black-made car. You have a black-made phone, etc. We're all a part of the same hypocrisy, Ask Ave. But salute to you and your super chat. Thank you so much. Keep them coming. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Sorry to do that.
Real quick, for somebody jumps in, LaShawn with the $10 super chat. Why do we think every black person has endured racism? ? There's a national statistic that shows Asian children study more a week than white, and then black kids are very successful.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. It says, excuse me, sir. It says, why do we think every black person has endured racism? This is a national statistic that shows Asian children study more a week. Yes, they do. There's a man that I know.
But wait, is she saying they study more a week and
yes, they do.
They're more successful than white and black kids?
They are because they have tiger moms. Now I wish that we could talk about the tiger mom thing because I feel like the tiger mom thing drives kids crazy because they're constantly studying. I think kids do need to play. They do need to develop relationships. And a lot of times I will admit when you meet Chinese people, they're kind of like robotic, but that's a whole nother story. But yes, they do study harder, but I have my quorums about that as well.
I guess is the comment trying to say that racism isn't endured by everyone. And the example is that Asians have been able to outachieve regardless of what they went through. Was that what that comment's trying to say?
I think the comment is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's what I took from it here.
Okay. Did we get our questions answered regarding black children being called monkeys? Did Chaotic answer the questions that he was asked?
Man, Chaotic asked and spun the block so many times.
Chaotic, there seems to be a sentiment of you slightly circumventing some of the questions. What would you say to that?
I would say that that's totally incorrect. You asked me what did I call the kids monkeys? My answer is yes. That was the question, right? Did I call the monkeys? The answer is yes, openly. Of course I did.
So my question is like, how fruitful or productive is it to insult kids that look like you?
I answered that question, but I answered that already.
No, yeah, but and then also too, like, yeah, it may apply to your particular experience, but that's not the majority, right? So it's not helpful to run around calling kids monkeys because that's not what they are. Regardless of how they act, that's not what they are. They may be undisciplined. They may be a lot of things, right? And a lot of the things with these young kids are really have nothing to do with them. It's more about the parents, so much about environment, trauma, like so many things go into it, right? So just as a black man to just call somebody who looks like you a monkey, like you lose me there. You lose me there. And so again, while it was helpful with your anecdotal experience, I don't want the majority of people thinking that that's okay because it causes more harm, than good. And I know you don't have children yet, like that's cool, but it matters the things that us as black men say to our children. You know what I'm saying? Like it matters whether they're yours or not. It matters.
Okay, cool. Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. The likes are about half the amount of viewers. Please hit that like button. It's absolutely free, and that also helps the channel the most. I mean, I appreciate the super chats. The chat is going crazy. I'm trying to keep it up. It's a lot of different narratives and perspectives. They arguing about who invented the phone and all types of shit. So that shit is interesting.